At Myers, and today we're talking about purpose. What are we here for? What's our ultimate goal? What are we supposed to be doing with our lives? You ever wonder what you were designed to be? I've talked to many people over the years, and the constant is I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I've had this question proposed. I've talked about this question with teens as well as people that are in their 30s, 40s, and some even 50s. There's also people in their 60s and 70s that feel like they have not done anything with their lives. And I believe that when we ask this question, we look for something divine, something aha moment, something that's real grand and it sticks out. Like some people determine or they find their purpose at in coming out of high school. They know what they want to be. They go to college. They become that, and they live happily ever after. Then there are some that really just kind of fumble through life and not sure what they're supposed to do. They go from job to job or situation or relationship to relationship looking for a light to come on, and it never does. Now, I think we can make this question more complicated than it needs to be. It does not have to be that difficult. It does not have to be a divine light. Sometimes it's a still small voice. Sometimes you're walking in your purpose, your design. You're walking in your design. But because you're looking for a grand, something grand that what you're walking in, it doesn't seem as if you're making a significant impact. I used to have daydreams when I was younger about being a superhero. I've never told anybody this, so shh. I used to daydream about being a superhero and coming in and saving the day, knowing karate moves and kicking and screaming and all the precise moves to defeat the gargoyles of the enemy and to beat them up and to save the day. And sometimes that's what we're looking for our purpose in life. But think about it. If everybody was a superhero on that magnitude, now that's not to say that everybody can't be a superhero. But if everybody was a superhero on that magnitude, would there be any need for superheroes? Look at your immediate circle. Look at your immediate surrounding. Who's around you? What's around you? What impact are you making? What if I said that you already knew your purpose, but that you were likely looking for confirmation to believe that that was actually it? You are looking for someone. Some people might even take this message or this what I'm speaking now as confirmation that that's actually it. But sometimes I need for us to be our own confirmation. I need for us to say, you know what, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make this happen. Now, some purposes, if that's a word, or purpose, some people's purpose, that's a better way to say that, comes and they are magnificent. They excel immediately. And some people, they struggle from day one. And by the time they get to their peak, if they compare it to others, it seems like a wave or just a subtle movement in the water. However, everybody's circle impacts a different group of people. And we have to look at, or we should consider how our circle is impacting us, first of all, giving us the satisfaction that we need, and how our what we're doing is what kind of effect it's having. Now, if I go back to an old scripture, and I am not good with names and verses, but it says some water, some plant, some water, but God gives the increase. Now, some people may look at that and they may say, well, That's nice, but sometimes you want to see what you're doing, if it's making an impact, and that is true. That is true. You want, if I counsel clients and I never saw any improvement, it will become discouraging, and I understand that. There is no answers. There are no answers going to fall from the sky. Let me just tell you that now. Nothing's going to drop and say, aha, and hit you on the head. Or there's going to be like Linus and Scooby-Doo. Not Scooby-Doo, Linus and Charlie Brown. A cloud is going to follow you and say, that it's not going to happen. But listening to you, doing what makes sense to you, finding things that make you get up in the morning. That's going to be your purpose. My last point is, I don't believe God is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, my child, your purpose is to go forth and you fill in the blank. I just don't believe that. I believe that there are a lot of things that are going to come our way, and it's going to show us who we are and show us what we need to be. And then it's going to be up to us to either walk in that calling, or to continue to fumble around. But I think it's scarier to make the decision to move forward in one thing than it is to actually hear that this is what you're supposed to do. Because I think that some people, and I know I did, and I'm not projecting my fears onto you, but it was true for me that, what if I'm wrong? What if what I'm doing is not what I'm supposed to be doing, and I end up doing this, and then it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, and then 10 years down the road, I've wasted all this time. But if it's bringing you completion, if it's bringing you joy, if it's giving you a reason to wake up in the morning, it cannot be wrong. Let's continue. Let's talk about what thoughts aren't helpful. I said all that to say, let's tell you what it's not. Though I believe in a higher being, I'm not sure that our purpose will be revealed through this method. It can be. Don't think that Yvette is anti-God revealing purpose. No, I'm not. But I just think that how our lives are unveiled to us, and they unfold. And as they unfold, we move into things or areas that need to, into gaps, let's call it that need filling. And as we fill those gaps, the pathway of those that are coming behind us becomes smoother and smoother. And so the people coming behind us are allowed to travel further without being stumbled by gaps that we filled in. And sometimes it's discouraging, or it can be discouraging, that someone coming behind you and excel better than you, or excel more than you. But isn't that the purpose of purpose? To make the path of those coming behind us better? I'm not sure of many parents that would say, I don't want my children to do better than I did. I don't want them to, to conquer more of the world than I did. They need to be behind me. I think every parent wants their children, or I'm going to believe that every parent wants their child to get past the point that they past the exit that they exit. I want to believe that every parent want to make that path a little smoother, so that their children coming up behind them wouldn't have the same struggles or behaviors or things that happen to the parent to happen to their child. I just want to believe that. Many times we believe in a connection from above when we should be connecting within. asking ourselves, what is it that I want to do with my life? What is it that I need to be doing with my life? What cracks are in my circle, in my path that need to be filled, and move that way? Some people believe that if you just live long enough, you'll just know this is true. But then there are some that question, it cannot be this simple, or it cannot be this difficult. Whatever position you take, it's my energy and my desire and prayer that if it's difficult or easy, that you attack it from within, because we're stronger inwardly than we are outwardly. Thought that are not helpful is we already know. But because we are unfamiliar with many things, we don't think that we believe that we know. We think that, because some people believe that they already, that we already know. Now, for instance, okay, what if you could retain numbers? You just had since being a child, you can just retain a large number. My daughter can remember 3-digit numbers and recall them at a later time, days, weeks, months. It's just something about the patterns of 3 that she can recall. I recall words. That's how I just like words. Now, what if you could retain numbers? And you can retain numbers up to, like, to say 20 numbers. And you can regurgitate those numbers a year, 2 years later. Remember 1925 and the 15-digit code that I gave you, what was it? And to be able to spit it out. Now, if that was you, how do you think that you can turn that into a purpose? You can turn that into something that you can do, because that comes to you without thought. It's just easy for you to be able to regurgitate those numbers. True story. I have a friend of a friend that she could recall 9-digit numbers. She can remember, I don't know, I might be dating myself, but remember how telephones used to have a different beep to every number? She can hear the beeps and tell you what number it was, and was able to recall it at a later date. She was on point. She was very intelligent. However, what she did with that gift was she used it to take advantage of people and to steal from them. Now, for her, she may say that her purpose, she was using her gift, but her gift was taking advantage of others. Another thought that isn't helpful is everyone knows except me. Listen to me. They don't. They're going through the same patterns that you're going through. They're trying to figure out what it is. So other thoughts that are not helpful is, I'll be glad when mine is revealed. Listen to me again. You aren't the only one. I think the biggest issue is everyone is looking outwardly. They're looking for some light to come on. And it's a matter of turning on the light within yourself and seeing the gifts that you already have, or seeing the things that you already like to do and just making them work for you. Again, I believe that we know, but are unfamiliar with identifying or exposing our inner gifts. And so we're unfamiliar with the process of revealing our purpose. Now, how many times do one person reveal their purpose? In their lifetime, it's likely one. So because you haven't done it before, you haven't seen it done many times, many people haven't seen it done. They have no idea what goes into revealing a purpose. Again, I'm going to say this often. It is not turning on the light on the outside, but switching on the internal light and revealing. A little transparency. I remember asking myself many times, what was I designed for? And I fumbled through life and I fumbled through jobs and I just didn't feel like I was doing anything. But I know now that if I look at my entire life, if I look at everything that I've done in my life, it was almost orchestrated. It was almost like putting a cake together, adding the right ingredients to get me to the place that I am right now. It boggles my mind that I look at every job that I had, and it was in some capacity in the helping field. And then when I finally settled, I'm right in that same field, but I'm doing it on a bigger scale. So keep moving, keep shedding, turn to get a flashlight and start shining lights on underneath the corners of your life. And look at the things that you're doing and look at how they're impacting lives. Because everything that we do impacts somebody's life. And that's how we grow. And I think that's one of the biggest satisfactions. I could be biased because of the profession that I am in, but I just believe that it's one of the biggest satisfactions. Now, things that I don't believe. I don't believe that there's a method or steps to figure this out, but questions that will cast light on the part of you that you've been unable to identify or give purpose to. If we move from steps, do step one, do step two. What if step one and two have nothing to do with your purpose, or you just cannot change those, manipulate those to get them to fit your particular lifestyle? So this is what I propose. Start asking yourself questions. I'm glad you said that. Let's get to the questions. These are things that I just came up with, and then we're going to go move on to another section of this. But write down 5 things that you've done every week for the past 3 years. And now your brain is going to explode because so many people are going to say, I can't remember anything that I've done every week for the last 3 years. Now I'm going to say, stop looking outwardly and look inwardly. If your life, ask yourself this, try this. If your life is in a state of chaos, it is difficult to complete this task. Chaos is if things, anxiety, depression, any of those things are going on in your life, it's going to be difficult because your energy, your mental energy is going to be directed at those things. Sometimes with so much stuff going on in our lives, we don't give our brain time to settle, to just think about simple things. And so trying to figure out those things, our purpose or what we're designed for, it becomes complicated. It's not that it's not revealed, it's just that so many other things are taking the place or taking up the space of our brain that we don't have time to focus on those things. There's a medical thing. I don't know the medical term or the terminology, but if you get a broken arm and you have a heart attack at the same time, what your body is designed to take care of the thing that's going to destroy it the fastest. So though you may reveal it's where you can see that your arm is broken, your body it's designed to tend to the heart attack because that can take you out the fastest. Now, if you look at what's going on in your life, things that are important, because a broken arm can take you out if it's not cared for properly. But the heart attack is more important, it's more pressing. So if we flip that around to our lives, sometimes the things that are pressing us or desires our immediate attention gets the attention, and the things that really matter or the things that we really want to tend to kind of get pushed to the wayside until they become important, until they come out of the shadows of what they not really need to be tended to. It is difficult for us to also store memory or create new memories when our lives are in chaos or when we live in a state of anxiety. I remember going through parts of my life that I don't even remember. My kids talk about it and I'm going, yeah, I remember that. But to sit and to say, to reminisce, and some things they say, it sounds like me. It sounds like something that I would do. But going back over my life, I can see or I can identify parts of my life that were stressed, where I was stressed the most because it's difficult for me to remember those times during that time. It's difficult for our bodies to remember during high anxiety times, during depression times, during chaos. It's difficult. So meditating and getting in contact with yourself is ideal. It is important so that you can create memories with your children, your grandchildren, and you can actually remember them and not have to be reminded of them. If you had all the money in the world that you needed, desired, and wanted, what would you do daily? And nothing is not an answer. Some people, the first thing, I would do nothing. Believe me, you would get tired of doing nothing. You would find something to do, even if it's basket weaving or, you know, counting marbles, whatever. You would find something to do. If it's sitting on the floor and getting high all day, you would find something to do. We are not designed to do nothing. The moment that we stop doing everything and we start doing nothing, our body begins to deteriorate. And death is certain. Death is certain anyway, but when we stop moving, that's when things start to, well, you don't really need that. We don't, and then you just dwindle off. Now ask yourself this: what single action gives you the most satisfaction? What thing that you do gives you the most satisfaction? It's like, oh my God, I could do this every day. I'll never get tired of that. For me, it's counseling. I say it often. I can counsel until I'm probably 90 years old. I don't think I'll ever get tired. I hope and pray that I never get tired. I can see myself slowing down, but I can't ever imagine not counseling. Now ask yourself this: when you're angry, what one thing calms you down? I hear people say get angry and they say things like I'm about to go to jail or this whatever your thoughts are, or they're gonna make me hurt somebody. Now, some people's fear of going to jail or fear of getting caught keeps them from actually harming people or doing what they really want to do. But I ask you, what one thing calms you down? For me, it's sitting and just taking the time to just breathe and relax and start to prioritize how important is what I'm angry about or upset about to my life. How important is it? When I start to talk to myself, when I start to measure things put things in a category when I start to put things in a category of importance, a lot of things really don't meet the bar, and it's easy for me at that point to walk away. But I do have to stop and calm down. Now, I found these on a website, www.markmanson.net, and I thought they was really interesting. I'm just going to skate over them because I really want you to go to this website and I want you to just indulge. What is your favorite flavor of seven strange questions that help you find your purpose by Mark Manson? What's your favorite flavor of shit sandwich, and does it come with an olive? Now, basically, that's really interesting, and if cursing offends you, I apologize. But I thought this was really interesting because things will happen to us. Bad things will happen to us. Bad things happen to good people. But it is what it is. But even when it does bad things happen to good people, does it come with an olive? I don't really particularly care for olives, but I like pickles. So does your shit sandwich come with a pickle? Looking at the brighter side of things. What is true about you today that would make your 8-year-old self cry? Think about that. What makes you forget to eat or poop? What are you consumed in that you will put it off or hold it or not eat or poop? How can you better embarrass yourself? I really want you to go to that website and check that one out, www.markmanson.net. How are you going to save the world? Gun to your head, if you had to leave the house all day, every day, where would you go and what would you do? If you knew you were going to die in 1 year from today, what would you do and how would you want to be remembered? Answer those questions. Go to that website, www.markmanson.net, and check those out. The website is it's on the bottom of this slide. I encourage you to find your purpose, to look inward, because looking out or waiting for a light may never happen. And I think I'm comfortable in saying that it's probably something that you're already doing. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of patterns. And it's probably something that you're already doing. So now what's next? Take the time to see and smell the roses. Meditate, listen to yourself and what you tell you that you like. Your job, if it isn't your passion, it's just that your job. It doesn't define you. I was talking to a client and they were saying that they hated their job, that they wanted to do something else. They wanted to be something else. They felt like they were wasting their time. And I asked the question, does your job take care of your needs? They were paid very well. They were satisfied with the salary, but they wanted to do something more fulfilling. I asked them, my next question was, how often do you work? Every day, Monday through Friday. How many hours do you work? That's my granddaughter, and I apologize. They said, I said, how often do you work? And they said Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 hours a day. I said, okay. We are allocated 24 hours a day. And if you're giving your job 7 to 8 hours a day, then you still have 16 hours left. The average person sleeps about 4 to 5 hours, maybe 6. Some people sleep 8. If you sleep 8 hours, that's 16 hours. You still have 8 hours left. We do nothing for 8 hours straight. Nothing except work. Even when we're working, we don't work for 8 hours straight. We break it up. Our minds wander. We kind of get lost in our thoughts, and then we kind of in and out of work. Being productive is not something that a lot of people are. They not saying that they don't do their job. It's just that to stay consistently focused on one thing for 8 hours, very few people are able to do that. So you get the job done, but you have 8 hours left. You have 8 whole hours left. If you work for 8 hours, you sleep for 8 hours, you got 8 hours left. If you have 8 hours left, your passion can be filled with those 8 hours. You can incorporate your family. You can do something solo. There are so many things that you can do in 8 hours to fill your desire. If your job is not something that you like, but it takes care of your needs, give them whoever your 8 hours, do your job, dedicate yourself to be excellent in your job. And as soon as you're done, you can go paint, you can go basket weave, you can knit, you can draw, you can do the things that calm you down, that get you at peace, that put you in a better state of mind. Your job is just that, something that you get paid at. If we try to connive, it's the ideal to mingle the two, our desire and our passion to getting paid. But until you do that, or until you find a way to make sure that your passion is able to take care of you and financially take care of you, then do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. And not look at your job as something that's holding you back, because it is taking care of your needs. How can something that's taking care of your needs possibly hold you back? That's an oxymoron. That's a contradiction. So look at it like that. It's just how you're looking at things. Inner peace is not something that you can find, but something that you accept. Accept inner peace and your passion will follow. It is not something that you find. Your passion, your purpose is not something that you find, that you look for, that somebody reveals to you. It is not something that you go looking for. It is something that you accept. I read a thing the other day, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that said, health is not something that we have to strive for. The natural state of our bodies is health, is perfect health until we interrupt it. We interrupt it knowingly and unknowingly with poisons, with things that are not actually food, with a lot of things. And when we interrupt it, it causes us grief and strife. So inner peace, finding our purpose, is not something that we have to find. It's something that we have to accept. Thank you. In closing, my name is Yvette Myers. I hope that something was said that opens your eyes, that gives you peace, that gives you clarity on purpose. It's not a big star falling out of the sky, but it's a bright light or a small light or a candle that's being lit within that helps us to drive us to our purpose, and not someone dropping our purpose or something dropping our purpose. I can be reached at 803-597-2324. My website is www.betterdecisionsbetterhealth.com, or you can email me at bdbhcounseling@gmail.com. I do workshops on demand. I have a YouTube channel. I encourage you to look out for those things. I'm on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time, and I encourage you to follow me. Thanks.